I sent over 13,000 outbound messages to enterprises, and these are the honest results of the campaign. I'm going to share with you and go into excruciating detail about what's working and what's not. Because a lot of people come on here and just tell you that every campaign is going to be a nuclear hit. You can expect to get 30 or 50 meetings out of them and set expectations that are just unrealistic, especially when going after enterprise. So I'm going to spend some time here and show you what it really looks like under the hood when you are doing outbound campaigns, specifically for prospecting, but when you're reaching to enterprise audiences. I'll go over the stats, the infrastructure, our messaging, and even what we're learning and what needs to change, because there's some things that worked great in this campaign and there's some things that didn't at all. And before I get started, if you'd like our help scoping an outbound campaign to run to enterprise clients, go ahead and book a meeting below. So as you can see, this is a real web page here. This is not something I doctored or made up. This is Email Bison. It's a very, very popular email sequencer with people that are in the space. And this was a pure email campaign. And this is really our bread and butter, but there's a number of other different outreach mechanisms that we use, sometimes LinkedIn, sometimes cold calling. But for right now, this is what we had. So let's dive into some of these results. Okay, first, right off the bat, the raw metrics. And we kind of discussed this here. 13,000 emails sent. This was over about 20 days, I'd say. So probably doing about 3,000 or 4,000 emails a day. It's including follow-ups. So when you see people contacted, a lot of these people are contacted twice. Open rates, we do not track, so you won't see that. Again, with unique opens. Reply rate, you will see. Unsubscribes, not something that we track, or rather, it's not something that's in the actual copy to track. Bounce rate, and the interested rate. So these are all of the numbers. This is exactly what we got from this campaign. And I want to be very clear. Most people go and they have these campaigns. They expect to launch a campaign and for it to go well. This is one campaign that did well amongst 4 or 5 that did just okay, or we had to pause and retool. And again, the 3 things we always check with every campaign is number 1, is the deliverability. What's the infrastructure looking like? Are we landing in mailboxes? Is the copy good so that it's not too filled with spam words? The second thing is the actual audience. How are we segmenting and who are we sending to? Because if we send a great message to the wrong people, it's a problem. And then number 3 is the actual copy. Is it relevant, right? If we are reaching the right people and we're landing in their inbox, is it something that they actually want to respond to? So we nailed a good amount of that so far in this campaign. It's not done yet. We are going to do another pass at this because there's a lot of juice still to be squeezed from this, and we'll cover that in a different video. But a couple things I want to point out. Number 1, the unique reply rate. This is also automated messages of people saying that they're out of office. So you have to go and subtract those out. And when we did that, the real human reply rate of people that are not interested at all, as well as people that are interested, was about 108, which meant that the true human reply rate was about 1.5, about half, which makes sense. Right now you're seeing that the reply rate is about 3.63. It was about half of that, a little bit less. The true interested rate, based off of the 108 that replied, how many actually came back, 35 interested, was about 33%. And we booked about 8 of them into meetings so far. It's about 25% book rate. It's a little bit less than average, and we'll cover that later. So this is a realistic campaign, a good campaign that worked, that did what it was supposed to. These are some of the metrics that we got out of it. We've got active engagements out with 2 or 3 of the companies that we spoke to already. Now, infrastructure. What did we actually send with? What are the bones and the pipes underneath the operation? The domains we purchased from Porkbun and Spaceship. It doesn't really matter where you get your domains, but those are easier to purchase in bulk. The mailboxes were a mix of Google and Outlook. And to be totally honest, we had a big dip, or we took a big hit over the last few weeks in a lot of our sending infrastructure. A lot of it went down, and we have to retool it right now. So we were very Google heavy, and I'd like to stay Google heavy, but for the moment, we're going to be switching to Outlook and Microsoft. But the actual number of mailboxes that we had was somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 mailboxes. And those have sending capacities of roughly 5 to 15 emails a day. I don't really ever go higher than 15 emails per mailbox on Google, or 5 to 7 on Microsoft or Outlook. That's what we did here. We had a mix of both. The actual infrastructure itself is Email Bison. It's a referral-only sequencer, and so unless you are in the game and you understand how it all works, and you aren't going to have bad sending practices, and you have some kind of history of proper sending practices, you probably won't get invited. But again, if you'd like us to do this for you, we have access to it. We get the best infrastructure and the best tools, so we get you the best results. And so again, we sent about 13,000 emails, and that was over the course of 2 weeks roughly, as you can see. And that's because we did the bulk of the sending for the first message on day 1, and then we have usually a 2-day gap, and then we'll send the second message, a follow-up message after that. And so it took about 2 weeks there. The actual schedule itself was pretty basic. I believe it was 8 a.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, regular sending times, Monday through Friday. That's it. Messaging. Now, again, this is an active campaign for us, and I shouldn't probably be talking about it, but I'm going to. And I'm not going to give you the exact messaging we use, but I'll tell you a couple of principles that we use in this messaging and all messaging. Number one, it's typically discovery related. We ask them a question about their business because what we've done is we know enough about who we're talking to. We've segmented the audience. And so we can ask a very hyper-specific, segmented question that only people in their industry would know. And so when we do that, we signal authority and relevance. And we usually generate responses that way. That takes a couple different tweaks. Typically, it's not a one-hit wonder, but we start with a discovery. We've segmented by the industry, and so we're reaching out to the exact profile of business that we're looking for. It's a smaller list, about 6,000 or 7,000 people, but we know that they're all relevant. And so when we send this kind of messaging, it wouldn't work in any other industry. It's too broad, but it worked here. And then we typically share proof of results. So this is a standard framework, right? Relevant message, line 1. It's a question or it's a line item about an offer that they will want a solution for already. And then you have some proof of concept, and then you have a CTA. So proof of concept can either be results, case study, whatever, and then you have a CTA that is a yes/no question. Are you interested? Is it worth a chat? Should we continue discussing? Should we find some time on the calendar? Whatever. Lastly, some reflections here. What's working, what's not? What is just based off of the metrics? A couple things. Since we're not tracking open rates, we don't really have a window into the subject lines, but because all the other metrics are healthy, we can pretty much assume the subject lines are working. You don't want a reply rate, and that's a general reply rate of less than 1%. So if your human reply rate is, 0.5 or something, but your unique reply rate, total reply rate, including out of offices and whatnot, is over 1%, you're probably in good shape, right? It's a deliverability question at that point. So your reply rate really dictates your deliverability, and I don't mind counting the amount of replies we get from out of offices and automatic responders because it means that we landed in the inbox, and that's a valuable insight for me. So I track that. Some other people don't, but I do. The interested rate, we would like to see that go up. And so what I'm going to work on now is changing some of the copy to get people more interested and get higher unique human responses. And so we've learned some things now that we've been on some calls. Again, I've got 3 or so engagements out with this specific industry. And so I'm going to take those learnings and I'm going to apply them into our copy, and we're going to run it again. Right? We might not send it to the same people, or if we do, it might be a couple months down the line, but we are going to try again into this industry because we saw a good signal here. And really the big opportunity is the booked meetings. This is far too low, I think, for what we got 35 interested. We should have far more booked meetings. And so a couple things that come to mind is a positive reply rate, follow-up subsequence that we're going to need to set up. And then we're also going to want to see what might be misleading for some of these people based on what we learned in the sales calls that are not getting them to book once we do engage with them. So that all said, this is overall a good campaign. We're pleased with what's happening so far. The pipeline value has far exceeded what we spent to set all this up. And we've got our own challenges with infrastructure going on right now, but broadly we're happy with how this is going. This is a real insight into what these campaigns do. And again, this isn't the only campaign we're running. We've got 4 or 5 going at a time. So keep that in mind, and if you have any questions about this, feel free to drop a comment below. If you'd like us to set up an enterprise outbound campaign for your company, then please book a call with us below, and we'll go ahead and scope it out and see what we can do.